But here's how it's going for Jacob Fry down in Minneapolis, the one who ordered the police to surrender and abandon their post, the one who does the awkward dancing. He was summoned to a struggle session, and he was asked, get this, if he would abolish the police. I'm serious. I'm deadly serious. And he's crazy, this Jacob Fry, but he's only about 90% crazy. He's not 100% crazy. And so watch this.
My own shortcomings, and I know there needs to be deep-seated structural reform in terms of how the department operates. A systemically racist system needs to be revamped. A police union needs to be put in its place. We need to make sure that everything from the union contract to the way that the arbitration functions to the way that officers and the culture of the department behaves,
Jacob Fry, we have a yes or no question for you. Jacob Fry, we have a yes or no question for you. Yes or no, will you commit to defunding Minneapolis Police Department? What did I say? We don't want no more police. It's that clear. We don't want people with guns toting around in our community, shooting us down. You have an answer. It is a yes or a no. Will you defund the Minneapolis Police Department? All right, be quiet, y'all. Be quiet, because it's important that we actually hear this. It's important that we hear this, because if y'all don't know, he's up for re-election next year. If y'all don't know, he's up for re-election next year. And if he says no, guess what the fuck we gonna do next year?
You're doing that regardless.
Loud and clear. Louder.
That's a struggle session. Not sure if you heard him. He said he wasn't for the total abolition of the police, just cutting it down to size and humiliating it. That wasn't enough, though. Go home, Jacob, go home. Well, the rest of Minneapolis' city council saw that, and they didn't need to be asked twice. They didn't need to step under the guillotine. So here's a story in the New York Times. The majority of the Minneapolis City Council pledges to dismantle the police department. 9 members, a veto-proof majority of the Minneapolis City Council, pledged on Sunday to dismantle the city's police department, promising to create a new system of public safety in a city where law enforcement has long been accused of racism. Saying that the city's current policing system could not be reformed, the council members stood before hundreds of people who gathered late in the day on a grassy hill and signed a pledge to begin the process of taking apart the police department as it now exists. So that's how lawmaking goes in burnt-out, riot-stricken Minneapolis, once a jewel of the Midwest. Just mobs on the street, abolishing police. Yeah, that'll work. Rich liberals like the idea because they live in white suburbs or live in gated communities, or if they're in New York, they have a doorman in their apartment. They don't live in the ghetto. I mean, if you were a cop and you received a 911 call in a rough part of Minneapolis today, would you really go in to help? Knowing that you'd probably be videotaped and screamed at the very least, and possibly assaulted, even murdered. Here's a black retired cop, David Dorn, who was murdered in the riots in St. Louis by a black looter, as it so happens. Would you go in and answer a 911 call if it was dangerous? Why? Here's New York's Bill de Blasio announcing a cut in New York's police budget to punish the police. He's going to give the money to social workers and youth workers instead. So that's who you call, I guess, if you have a bank robbery or a mugging. Call a social worker. 300 NYPD cops were injured in the riots. Would you keep working for de Blasio? That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.